Marriage, love, no chance without prayer. So all week long here on 100 Huntley Street, we are looking and diving into the power of prayer. And right off the bat, I just love quotes, and especially quotes from men and women who have gone before us that speak to the truth that they've learned from their lives. So I want to convince you right off the bat, again, from the testimony of others, as to how powerful prayer really is. Take a look with me here, and the first quote we see is from one of my spiritual heroes, Charles Spurgeon. This is what he said on prayer. "My own soul's conviction is that prayer is the grandest power in the entire universe." And let me just ask you, do you believe that to be true also? That's a pretty bold statement, that prayer is the greatest power in the universe, possibly because through prayer, God actually moves, as the Bible will tell us this week. And also, Ian Bounds, he said this is such a great quote as well. "The Holy Spirit does not flow through methods, but through people. He does not come on machinery, but on people. He does not anoint plans, but people." Notice, people of prayer. That is so true. That is so powerful. Another quote here from Oswald Chambers. "Prayer does not fit us for the greater work." Okay, now pay attention here. Okay, this quote like this based on truth has changed my life. Okay, prayer does not fit us for the greater work. Prayer is the greater work. Do you believe that? Does your church believe that? Does the ministry that we are a part of believe that? Prayer is the work that we are called to. This is what God uses. And finally, a paraphrase from Martin Luther. He said this: "Prayer is the oxygen of the spiritual life. Without it, we die." Okay. So apparently some very, very fruitful saints carried a little bit of conviction when it came to the power of prayer. But here's the question really. Do we carry the same conviction? Do we believe that prayer is as important as what we just heard and read? I wonder if we're categorically convinced that prayer is the greatest power. And the way we prove that we believe this is by living it in our lives. So we're taking a whole week here again to examine the power of prayer. Why? We must become convinced that without prayer, we're dead. As the opposition increases in our society, prayer becomes everything. As the culture shifts, prayer becomes everything. As the enemy again in his movement increases, prayer must kick in. As we seek for loved ones to be saved, prayer again is our greatest weapon. As we long to know the presence of God and the power of the Holy Spirit, it's prayer, prayer, and prayer. So let me say to you right now, we can have great programs, you can have great preaching, you can have a good theology, you can feed the poor, you can love the homeless, but without prayer, this is what the church really becomes. It's a shiny vehicle without an engine. A vehicle that has gadgets, looks good on the outside, might impress initially, but again, without prayer, there's nothing really to make it run, because prayer tunes into the power of God and the Holy Spirit. So let me just suggest this to you today as well, okay? When it comes to prayer, what is the definition of prayer? Prayer is, "Help me, God." Conversely, a life without prayer really is saying, whether you mean to or not, is saying, "Thanks, God, but I got this one," right? I know the stats on the amount of believers and people who pray and don't pray. It's pretty sad. When we fail to pray, again, whether we mean to say it or not, we're saying, "God, I got it. I'm strong enough." But do we really mean that? Because Jesus said this in John 15:7. "If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish and it shall be done for you." Asking and abiding, prayer and abiding together, essential all this week on 100 Huntley Street, believing firmly in the power of prayer.